Hey YouTube, Kiritwig here, bringing you all an update to my Ryzeal Yugioh deck profile for post the April 2025 ban list. This deck definitely got hit for consistency with the latest Yu-Gi-Oh ban list. It just basically hit all the major parts of the deck, limiting all of the main go-to Ryzeal monsters to 2 each, Bonfire to 1, all your engine cards, basically just stopped for consistency so you couldn't loop the engine over and over again. So I wanted to make some changes because this was one of the decks I used the most at locals, right next to Malice as well. So just showing you some of the changes I made. We do have new support coming out for this deck in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set, so I'll definitely be updating it then as well. But until then, we do have a pretty, couple week gap. So for now, just showing you what I have made change-wise for the deck. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the actual Ryzeal monsters, 2 Ice Ryzeal, this was one of your best starters just for the fact that it could just special summon a Ryzeal and then special summon itself by sending another card from your hand or field to the graveyard. So you had options for searching out some of your other targets, along with just being able to, make it be your go-to normal summon without any risk aside from the potential, hand trap to stop the special summon. But it could get around Drone Lockbird because it just summoned the monster, so at least giving you an engine to go into your main go-to boss monster, which is now also at 1, sadly, in the deck. 2 copies of X Ryzeal as well. For the send option, we still have the power to send cards to the graveyard from the extra deck to summon this card, and then giving us another search for our Fire Thunder monsters, which I did up the number count for them as well, with the last of the 2 ofs after the ban list being 2 copies of Sword Ryzeal, if you have a Ryzeal monster in your graveyard, having the special summon option with this card, and then more search power for a Light Pyro. So you can grab any of the other ones we mentioned with this card, and easy summon power from there. I did up the number of Node Ryzeal to 2, just going for numbers with these cards, since we'll have more of a graveyard reliance, having to have this card be one of your special summons, and then just being able to send another card to grab one more back from the graveyard as well. I am trying 1 Palm Ryzeal. This is more for the recycle power. It cannot be normal summon in a set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by shuffling 1 Ryzeal monster from your hand or graveyard into the deck. So with our numbers lowered greatly, having a way to shuffle back cards comes in handy, and then also being able to have that special summon from the deck or extra deck. So we could also potentially recycle our Ryzeal Detonator if need be using this card as well. And then for the rest of the main deck monsters, we are running a pretty big hand trap lineup. 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and 3 copies of Ash Blossom, along with the 3 copies of Drone Lockbird, the 1 copy of Nibiru, and then the 2 copies of Effect Veiler. The Nibiru is in here for just a potential 3rd Veiler spot, since we do have 1 copy of Crossout Designator in the deck now. It doesn't pop up as often. I would compare it to kind of like a Call by the Grave scenario at this point now. So if you want to, you can mix around some of the numbers, increasing the numbers of Nibiru or just decreasing them down to 3 copies of Veiler for that last spot. For the spells, making use of probably our best search tactic in the deck now, since Bonfire is also at 1, being the 7th Tachyon. Just having the reveal in our extra deck for our 100 number monster, and then being able to search out the proper card just, dwindles down the deck more to grab us our search targets for what we may properly need for that certain setup using the 7th Tachyon. I also run 2 copies of Cross just to have a better search and setup option ready to go with this card as well. Running just an option in case our opponent does destroy this card, so we can have another in the added search, since we'll be relying on Duo Drive for more of those search options as well as our go-to setup card in the deck still. The 1 copy of Plugin, along with the 1 copy of Bonfire. Some of the other 1-ofs in the deck include now the 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent, the 1 Crossout Designator, and then the 1 Call by the Grave, along with the 1 copy of Terraforming, just as another Ryzeal cross search. This I'm trying out just so we can more or less go for more of a search off of the Ryzeal Duo Drive to grab other resources, whether they be our plug-in and then an additional monster with this card, and then just saving the search for terraforming there. With the final spell slots being 2 copies of Pot of Desires, just more of the draw with this, 2 Triple Tactics Thrust for another search option for a normal spell, so we can try and grab our talents from there as well. And then lastly, the 1 Pot of Prosperity. I really thought this card would get hit on the ban list with the latest changes, but I guess not, so we still have the 1 to work with, and the other banish options in the extra deck, with the rest of the main deck being the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just another hand trap spot, maxing out those numbers as best as we can to then work with the Ryzeal engine as well. And then for the extra deck, we have the 1 copy of Ryzeal Detonator. Once again, as I said, this card was put to 1, and more or less just for the fact we have some of the recycle cards, we have other cards like Eclipse Twins to summon it back onto the field. There are options, plug-in, you name it, to make use of this card. I'd say the biggest problem is obviously when this card gets banished. So best bet is just to try and avoid that banished target, is to then chain Detonator itself to the destruction of itself, so you can avoid that banish option there. 2 copies of Duo Drive for the added search power, the attack boost and decrease of your opponent's monsters as well. The 2 copies of Eclipse Twins, so we have more or less the attach option, and then just the loop option with the multiples sent to the graveyard as attached as well onto our Ryzeal monsters. The 1 Mereologic Aggregator for the face-up card effect negation as another send off of X to Ryzeal. The targets for our 7th Tachyon being the added search of C102 and the 104 Masquerade. I run the C102 as more or less a side deck option for Lancia. If you didn't, you could always use the Badland Boxer one to have another fire search in the deck instead of C102. The 1 copy of Dugaris along with the 1 Tornado Dragon for some of our other Xyz monsters. And then the 1 copy of Castel, the 1 Baguska, the 1 Exiton Knight, and the 1 Sky Crisis for the rest of the Xyz monsters, with our only link in the deck being the 1 Donner Dagger for hire, so we have a way to get around the Nibiru token with 1 additional special summon, and then just the tribute to get over our opponent's monster as well. And as for some of the plays in the deck, as I said, the biggest hit is just the limitation for being able to extend over and over again into play after play. So Palm Ryzeal definitely is one I'm going to be trying out in the deck just for more or less a recycle option, because then we can also have this card be a card to search out as a Fire Thunder target. Sadly, you have to go for the search with this card, so this card could be an X Ryzeal reveal, summon, and then search off of this card as long as we have the additional monster in the graveyard for the shuffle back. It could also potentially be one of the cards because we can send off of X, giving us that card, then have the Palm special summoned out as a shuffle back option for these 2 cards then to overlay into the needed monster as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Just a quick update to the deck, as I said, with some of the changes that I'll be trying out, but we do have the Core Alliance set coming out in this month as well, so look forward to another update to this deck then. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.